Hi guys, it is November 11th and we are going to talk a little bit today for your language lesson about contractions. Contractions, that's kind of a big word, but I'm pretty sure most of you know what a contraction is. If you don't know what it is, I can almost promise that you use contractions all the time, okay? Sometimes when people talk in a very proper way or fancy way, they may not use contractions. I did not do my homework. Most people would say I didn't do my homework. How about the weather was not very nice today? Most people would say the weather wasn't very nice today. I cannot believe Mrs. Schaefer assigned so much homework. I can't believe. So you may not know what a contraction is, but I promise you probably use them. So both of those sentences I gave you meant the exact same thing. One didn't use contractions, one did. Typically, we shorten words. Instead of saying did not, we say didn't. Instead of saying cannot, we say can't. And that's called a contraction. So basically, you take two little words, and instead of saying those two little words separately, you actually put them together to make one word. That's called a contraction. Okay? So back here's our poster, and I've started on it. So we're going to keep going on this, okay? I like to make the posters, you guys know, because I hang them up in the classroom for you guys. That way you can look at them and you can use your poster to help on your tests and your worksheets and everything else. So this is for you guys, okay? So contractions. Let's talk about what they are. I'm gonna draw a little line here. This is our title, and we're gonna define a contraction. We're gonna say what it is. Okay. A contraction is a we're gonna call it a shorter way. Shorter way to say something. Just a shorter way to say it. Instead of saying the whole word cannot, we would use a shortened way and say can't. Okay? One thing about a contraction, it must always have an apostrophe. We learned what an apostrophe is, okay? We talked about the ones that are up in the air and we talked about the ones that are down on the ground. Apostrophe is in the air, okay? We used them when we made possessives. When I said Blake's dog barked loudly, we used an apostrophe to show ownership for Blake's dog. So we're going to use an apostrophe again, except we're not going to own anything. We're just showing an apostrophe where those letters were left out. So it always, I'm going to use the word always. It always has, and then I'm going to make this one big. It always has an apostrophe. That's this thing right here. And we usually use it with an S when we show that someone owns something. In this case, we're going to use it to show us where letters are left out, okay? So that's your apostrophe. Very important. So important. I'm going to put an exclamation point there, okay? Because that shows really strong feeling, okay? So let's just take a couple words here, okay? Can and not. Lainey cannot sleep until 10 a.m. in the morning. Cannot. Instead of saying cannot, instead of putting those two little words together like this, we're going to say C-A-N apostrophe T. If you notice C-A-N, that apostrophe takes the place of N-O right here. Those two little words, we're going to leave them out. Yes, thank you. So these two little letters right here, we're going to leave those out. And that apostrophe actually just shows that we're leaving these letters out. Okay? So our next word, how about if we try, let me switch colors here so we can definitely tell a difference. How about if I try are not? Okay? If I said Jude and Raina are not allowed to jump off the desk, okay? I would change that to aren't, okay? Aren't. There's my apostrophe. Now in this one, I only left out the O. A-R-E-N. There's no O. T. So the apostrophe takes the place of the O. Aren't. Okay? How about is and not? Okay? Is not. I'm going to say that AJ is not allowed to cook anymore because he just about caught the house on fire. Okay? So is and not would be joined like this. I-S-N apostrophe T. We make isn't. So right here, the O is left out. I-S-N. Here's the O with the apostrophe T. Isn't. Is not says isn't. So instead of saying AJ isn't allowed or is not allowed, I would say AJ isn't allowed. Okay? Let's try does and not. Okay? Instead of saying does not, we would say, this is a super tricky one. Super tricky one. Doesn't. Okay? D-O-E-S in apostrophe T. Doesn't. Mrs. Schaefer's class doesn't have homework this week. Okay? So we left out the O and we put the apostrophe. How about could and not? Okay? Could not. What if I said Jonah could not rake all the leaves because they just kept falling off the tree? Okay? We would say couldn't. Again, we left out the O and we put the apostrophe. And if you look at them, the apostrophes are all floating up there in the air. They're not down on the ground. They're all floating up in the air, okay? Let's switch gears for a minute. Let's change what we're talking about here with not. And how about will? She plus will. Okay? What if I said, I'm talking about Sienna, and I said, she will surprise her mom and clean her room. So instead of saying she will, I'll say she'll. She apostrophe LL. So there's the word she. We left out WI. We put the apostrophe in the LL. She'll. Okay? She will. Sorry, Mrs. Schaefer's computer went off over here, so how to fix that, guys. Sorry about that. Let's go with this kind of green color here. All right, our next one. Getting a little bit low. I think you can still see it. You and are. Okay. If I was talking to all you guys and I said, you are my favorite class. I would switch it to say, you're my favorite class. I left out the A. Here's the word you. The apostrophe goes in place of the A, and then R-E, your. Okay. How about if I say, what if I said we would? Okay. What if all my students came up to me and said, "Oh, Mrs. Schaefer, we would be happy to help you with work in the classroom"? We would. Turns into we'd. We'd be happy to help you with the classroom. Oh my goodness gracious, guys. Check this one out. Here's we. That stayed the same. The apostrophe takes the place of W, O, U, and L. Whew, that's a lot of letters left out of that one. But definitely we would. Okay? Let me see if I can give you one more. What if I said, I plus have? Mrs. Schaefer walks up to her class and says, I have really good news for you. Instead of saying, I have good news for you, I would say, I've got good news for you. Okay, I plus have. The I stays the same. You can see that guy there. The apostrophe takes the place of the H and the A, and you keep the VE. I've got good news. I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so we change it to I. Those are contractions. So you will be learning more about contractions. This is not all the contractions. There's so many contractions out there. So we're going to be talking about them. The main thing to know is that the apostrophe takes place of certain letters, okay? Certain letters are left out and the apostrophe goes in there and it hangs out up here at the top, not down on the ground. So I'm going to carry my computer over and talk to you a minute about your spelling words, okay? I know you've already put them in your binder, which is fabulous. But I want to point out some things about these words, okay? A lot of these words are going to have a long A sound, okay? Long A says A, says its name, okay? Let's look at the word nail. That's a long A word, nail. A and I together make that sound. I don't know if you remember from first grade, you've probably learned this from your first grade teachers. When two vowels go walking, A and I are walking, the first one does the talking. This I doesn't say a thing. He's just going along for the ride. So, ale. You don't hear the I, but the I is actually telling the A to say its name. So this is a long A, A-I. Train is a long A, A-I. Main, long A with A-I. Okay? That's one way to spell it. Another way would be A-Y. Again, two vowels. Y can sometimes be a vowel. When two vowels are walking, first one does the talking, it still says A, hey. This is an AY, stay. I think that's it of my AYs. Okay. How about break and stake? This totally goes against the rule I just told you. Normally, when the vowels walk, when two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking, you would say break. You ever heard the word break? Yeah, me neither. It's actually the word break. Like, I will break this stick, okay? So that doesn't follow the same rules the ones above. But break and stake actually are long A words. Kind of weird. Sometimes that just happens, okay? All right, over on this side, we have the word way. Even weirder, because there's no A in this word whatsoever. It's E and I. Way. Still says A. A. Same with sleigh. Like Santa is going to hop in his sleigh. Okay, so still A sound, but spelled EI. It's craziness, okay? How about pray? It's the same, EY. No A in it, but there's two vowels, and they're saying A, okay? Down here, brain is still an AI. The word game, this has a sneaky E. Skate, sneaky E. Whenever you have that sneaky E, it tells it to say its name. So those kind of follow the rule. But a few of these, I'll put a little star next to them. They're kind of crazy. They don't even have an A in it at all. Okay. Same over here with steak and break. They don't have an A, but most all of these words have a long A sound. There are a few good and often they don't have an A sound, and by they don't have an A sound. So sometimes we throw in some extra review words that are not part of what we're talking about this week. But just remember your spelling words this week have long A sounds, and they're spelled a few different ways. Some of them are crazy, they don't follow the rules, but we have that sometimes. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.